Hi, welcome to my channel, Frugal Living. Today I'm going to share the interview I had with Latasha Brown, the budget pusher. She's going to share money basic tips for blended families, parents of college students, and some other basic tips for couples. If you're interested in that, stay tuned. Thank you so much for joining me today, Latasha, the budget pusher. I love that name. I love that name. That name was what got me to follow you on Instagram. That's how we met. So I'm really excited for the viewers to be able to meet you. And you have so much information that you give, a lot of practical information. This past month, you've been giving each day you've been doing a financial or savings tips. And they're really, really good. And they're very detailed. So I think that you're going to have a lot of awesome things to share with the viewers. So let's just jump right into it because that's how I love to do it. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into the whole financial management space?
Well, first, thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to spend some time with you this evening. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. But just to tell you a little bit about myself, I'm a wife, I'm a mom. I have 4 children, a bonus son. My oldest is 20, my bonus son is 17, my middle son is 15, and then we have a 6-year-old together, so we are a blended family. I'm still full-time working in corporate America. I've been in the managed care healthcare industry for 13 years. Today is actually my 13th anniversary, so I'm super excited about that. So I dived into finances and budgeting by accident. Probably about 9 years ago, my pastor reached out to me, and he wanted me to sit on the board of trustees, and I was like, "Who, me? Like me?" Because at that moment, I was just, I say about 9 years ago, I wasn't married at the time. I was a single mom struggling, and I'm like, he want me to sit on the board of trustees. So I said, okay, God, I'm gonna trust you. And I got on the board, and I learned so much about money. I mean, business, but finances, working directly with the financial secretary and understanding how it's important for a business to manage their money, just like us. It's important for us to manage our money, but it was so important as a church, as a corporation, to manage your money. I mean, so much, missionary and different things that come through. So I had a good experience with being on a trustee board. And then about 5 years after that, he wanted me to be the chairperson over the trustee. And I was like, oh my gosh. So at that point, I said, you know what, God, I need to take these strategies and I need to apply it to my life. I mean, it wasn't the fact that I didn't know how to manage my money, but at that time, as a single mom with, 2 small children, it was just hard for me to balance my money. I had too much going on, and I just needed to balance. So that's how I got into to the whole finances. And what drove me to start this platform is just being able to help other people. People would come to me and they would ask for tips, home ownership, how can they purchase a home? Because I purchased my first home at 23. So they wanted tips on how to get their budget together, how to save money and stuff. So I was, helping people. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to share my journey on Instagram. And I thought about, I said, you know what? Budgeting is the first step. It lays the foundation. So I said, budget pusher. I'm going to push budgets to help everyone manage their money. So that's how that came about. And
Oh,
it's
wow.
been an amazing journey.
That's really good. I love that because sometimes, getting into budgeting, and for me, it was kind of something that I've always kind of liked. But for the past few months, I've been realizing, you know what, I really want to be serious about this. and both to help others and to help myself. So for me, it's like learning and growing together. And as I get more into it, I'm meeting people like you that are just encouraging me and showing me, you know, because we're new homeowners and learning how to pay off debt. And this is all new and amazing. You shared that you're the mother of teens. And as I am also the mother of one teen, and the fact that you can put an S on that, it's like, yes, you have a lot to share, because I have one and I'm just like, some days, especially with quarantine and not having any outlet for teens, it's like, okay, I need a break from you. You need it from me. Okay, that's real talk. And you also have a blended family. And I wanted to ask you, what are 2 tips that can help blended families come together financially? Because the fact is, when people are blended, people, you know, have different commitments financially, maybe with the former spouses and different things that are happening with that. So maybe child support, whatever it may be, there's a lot of things going on that can be slightly complicated. And because, you know, statistically, second marriages do have more stress and strain to them, and blended families, I'm on a second marriage, and also blended families have a lot of stress and strain to them. So what are a couple of tips that even something personally, you can share with us that would kind of help blended families in particular?
You know, you're right. You know, when you are blended as a family, it's so unique because you got to consider the other parent, you know, the ex-parent, you got a co-parent. And the one tip that I always tell blended families is to play on the same team. You know, in your home, be on the same team, be on the same page when it comes to your money. Communication is so important, like it is key. I don't care how uncomfortable it is. I mean, bring it all to the table. I mean, it's, you know, you gotta, like you said, you're dealing with big things when you come into a blended family. Child support, you know, legal issues, if there is alimony, or, you know, if there is a divorce, you know, you got to put all of those things to perspective and make sure that you're honest. The first thing, I mean, you know, it's uncomfortable talking about, you know, even when you're bringing debt into your marriage from past relationships, bring it all to the table. So our motto in our family is nothing is off limits. I mean, you know, we're going to talk about everything. Whatever it is, no matter if it's uncomfortable, even with my teens, we're bringing it to the table. Even money mistakes, we not going to judge one another. You know, my husband he's very what's the word? He's not vocal, but he's very supportive. And what I love about him is he can see things. He's a support when it comes to being that voice. And so when we bring it to the table, the first thing we do is pray. We're going to pray, and then we're going to step away and come back. We're going to give God time to lead us and guide us. And then when we come back to make a financial decision, you know, our minds are clear, our hearts are clear, and we can actually make a decision together. So I tell families to make sure that you play on the same team. No matter if you are disagreeing, you don't have to let anybody else see that disagreement, but come together and come to an agreement that fits your family. And keep that communication open. Keep it open, even if it's hurtful. I would rather us talk it out and discuss it and come to an equal agreement than for us to be angry, because that shows out, you know, outside of the home. You could tell when, you know, when you're dealing with different, you know, with him, you know, my bonus son's mother, with me, my kid's father. So we want to make sure that we're standing together, and then we can do what's best for our home. So those are the tips that I would say for a blended family. It can get very unique when you're dealing with different people outside of the family. But if you play on the same team together, and you work in teamwork makes the family work. So I always say stick together, pray about it, keep that communication open, and that will make it easier for you.
Oh, I love that, because communication is really key for relationships in general, you know.
Yes.
And sometimes when it comes to money, that's the one area that most of us struggle to communicate with. Like for us in our marriage, we didn't start talking about money until we tried it year one, didn't work. Tried it year two, didn't work. So I think around maybe 2.5 to 3 years is when we really started having productive communication about money. So if people can learn this and get a hold of this early, they can save themselves a lot of trouble and heartache. This is a time when many parents are sending their kids away to college. I've been seeing a lot of posts. I know personally my cousin just recently, she went off to college, going in as a freshman. And I wanted to ask you, how can parents, and you spoke on that because you have a child who's away at school, how can you encourage parents to make sure their kids are not getting all the loans and credit cards? Because it's almost like once they go off to college, they have that freedom, and now we're adults and we can get, you know, I never got credit cards when I was young, but my husband said he got his first credit card at 18 when he was in college. And he's like, oh, you know, you feel like, oh, I'm an adult. I can get a credit card. I can get student loans. I can get all these things and pay them back later. And I had the luxury of having a counselor who said, I'm 38 and I'm still paying off student loans. Don't be like me. Although I didn't listen to him, unfortunately. Because 18, you think you're going to somehow magically do things better. But I am paying them off now. But how can we as parents kind of guide our students and our children into, you know, making sure they don't get caught up in that?
Well, the first thing I did, now the first year my daughter, it was her freshman year, I was not prepared. So after that year, I kind of looked at things and looked at how overwhelmed she was financially, trying to balance finances, trying to balance her scholarship money and different things, and then trying to balance her schoolwork. So I saw her dip into that stress. So around maybe her second semester, I sat down with her, and I tell parents that, you know, have freshmen going in, make sure you sit down with your kid and look over those documents. Look over the documents and create a plan for them for each semester. Know what they need. I think it's so important that we know exactly what our kids need, know exactly what expenses that they're going to have throughout their college life, and plan for it. You know, with my daughter, we sit down and we created a financial plan for her per semester. We have her set up on a spending plan, and she gives herself an allowance every week. And once she has tapped out of that allowance, that's it. And she plans her spending. She look ahead. I had it. Well, now she's a junior, so she doesn't live on campus, and she lives off campus, and she has her own apartment. She's working, and you know, she's doing great, thank God. But just to make sure you sit down and review those documents, look at, you know, work directly with your financial aid department, know exactly what to expect. You know, one thing I told my daughter, that she don't want to add on extra debt. I mean, of course, she wanted to feel that adulthood and get those credit cards, but I had to remind her that you don't want to finish college having more debt. You know, she wanted another car. You know, you if that car gets you from A to B, hey, continue to roll with that car, because you're gonna appreciate it. Because what's gonna happen is, once you finish college, you get your degree, you're going to go into the workforce needing that pay to pay off the debt, instead of creating a plan so that you can get the job that you enjoy. And it's not about the money. Of course, you know, we want to make good money, but it's not all about the money. But you can focus on your, you know, what you went to school, working in your degree, working in your field, and really feeling that you have that purpose, instead of just going to work, finding a job just to pay off the debt that you have accrued, and now you're stressed and not enjoying what you're doing. So I tell parents, when you have a child that's going into as a freshman, make sure to take advantage of all resources. scholarships, apply for as many scholarships because there's so much funding out there. Even now, even during this time, I mean, all the church affiliate associations, your different ministries, different organizations. There's so much resources. Sit down and apply for those scholarships for your children so that you won't have to take on so much student loans, and only take what you need. Only take out what you need. And that's just what me and my daughter did. We sat down, created a plan, created a spending plan, and took advantage of every resource that was available for her. And if you don't know the resources, get familiar with the college academic counselors, financial aid counselors. Ask them for guidance so that you can be prepared financially to fund your kids' college.
Wow, that's really awesome, because especially in California, they really want people to go to state schools. So they have the Cal grant, which is, $9,000 you can use, and there's different grants that are out there. And I love that, because if parents are armed with that knowledge or connected with those who know that, we can pass it on to our students and let them know, hey, you know what? This is available to you.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed the interview I had with Latasha, the Budget Pusher Brown. She gave great tips for blended families. It was awesome how she talked about how we can balance the different, sometimes challenging things that blended families face, as well as being able to help college students. We don't want our children growing up to be saddled with a ton of debt where they start their new lives and they have all this debt that they're carrying with them. We want to start a new legacy for our kids so that they can walk in financial freedom the way that we're working towards. And also, I just have to say, I'm going to add in the description all the ways that you can reach Latasha, both her blog and her Instagram. I'm also on Instagram as well, so I hope you'll follow me there. And let's continue this money conversation. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of the upcoming content that I have coming to you. And last but never least, happy savings!